here is where you're going to begin doing some basic layout. Now you're going to start on paper. So you can kind of see here, you're going to draw out 5 possible layouts for a portrait view and 5 possible layouts for landscape view. Now with these, you can see I'm not worried about the quality of the drawing. What you should have is somewhere where you write out the title, like I just kind of cheesy wrote it out, but usually the biggest thing will be written out. Then you can number things and you can put where your headings and the text will be. Notice how I'm using a bigger line for the heading and then smaller lines to represent, verbiage that's underneath. Now, this is going to be used as a model. So you're going to do a minimum of 5 portrait and 5 landscape. Then you're going to take a photograph of it and you're going to open up the template, which is this file right here. And you're going to recreate those digitally. Now, let me show you an example. I'm only going to do a couple of these, but the first thing you're going to want to do is right here where it says place your drawings here. What you're going to do is you're going to go to File, you're going to go to Place, and then you're going to want to find where you have that picture saved. So I'm going to go ahead and place that one. I'm going to drag, and then I can rotate it. Since I took it sideways, I can hold down the Shift key and make it larger. If you had to take multiple pictures, that's fine. Just shrink them down. And then what you're going to want to do is right now, notice how it says linked file. I want you to actually embed this file, meaning it's going to permanently be part of this document so that I can see it. So right down here in Quick Actions, there's this thing that says embed. It does make the file size larger, but instead of just pointing to your computer where you have this file saved, it's actually putting it here. If you don't do that, it's going to show up as just a white box. And so you're going to need to make sure embed. All right. So now, first thing that I'm going to do is instead of having to start completely from scratch, I already have, some titles. And I already have, some basic steps. And you already have those too in your document. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to this document. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back over to my template. And I'm going to try to create this first one. So I'm just going to paste it. Shrink that down. So I can kind of see I was doing that with the steps underneath. So now I'm going to go find my steps. Now I didn't make all of the steps like you did, so I'm going to cheat a little bit, mainly because I already saw on some of the numbers, I saw so many that ended up using, Ended up using this one. I would really like you to try to experiment more with your numbers so that not everybody's looks exactly the same. I'm really avoiding that. So you already had in the previous lesson already created your different versions. So it doesn't matter which one you end up using. Now mine, like I said, I've only got this one made. You should actually have your 5 steps or however many steps you have. And let me show you a trick here. So I'm going to highlight these and I'm going to group just these individual items together. So I'm just highlighting and Control-G-ing. Now, the thing with this is, see how it did not space them out evenly? One of the things that's really nice with the alignment tool that's in here is I can decide to move this stuff down, decide this is where I want my top one to go, this is where I want my bottom one to go. And I'm going to use the align tool to make sure they're all lined up to the left, just for this particular layout. I'm going to lay them to the left. But then here in the alignment tool, there's these 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, you can do distribute spacing. What this is going to do when you do vertical spacing, is it's going to put an even amount of space between all of these based on where is your top and where is your bottom. And I just realized, let me undo. Earlier, I turned this align to artboard. I want to do align to selection. There we go. So the thing is here is if you decide, oh, I want to actually make that a little bit closer and that one a little bit closer, I can highlight them all again since I have them individually grouped. And I can go to the Align panel, distribute spacing, boom, makes it nice and even. So you're going to actually have the real ones. Now, it's up to you to decide which style you ended up using, and I'm okay with you repeating it in different areas. But now, as far as doing the drawing part, since we don't really have the drawing in here yet, it can be something as simple as grab the pencil. There is my janky. Wee. There's my crusty looking orangutan. So just looking at this, I can already tell I'm not liking some of the spacing and stuff there, but no problem. I'm just going to leave that one as it is. And then I might go in and try a different one. Decide, all right, let me grab this other title and experiment. So you're going to pick, you don't have to show every single one of your titles that you used in the template. I would recommend pick ones that you're really interested in using. You'll end up finding that it's possible when you do a layout for the portrait view that it might be different than what you end up seeing for your landscape view. So with something like this, maybe I'll decide I'm going to make that way bigger. And so now I'm looking at this particular drawing one right there where it's got him more towards the center, the text. And you can modify this as you start to experiment. So if in your drawings you're not happy with the way the drawing looked, go ahead and modify it slightly here. So with that one, I just realized didn't have that. I wanted this one. So I'm just holding down the Alt key. And now I'm just holding down the Alt key again and grabbing some of the ones that I've already made. So yours are actually going to have the real numbers. I can't emphasize that enough. You've gone through and you've made several different layouts of vertical, horizontal with your steps and the actual real words with the steps. I want yours to be reflective of that as well. And then you'll do the same thing with the landscape version. So you go through and decide, okay, so on this landscape version, I had something for this one where I did more of a box. And we do like a frame. Moved these down, but since I drew the rectangle below, I'm going to have to right click, bring to front. I go back and look. Okay, so then I was doing trees down here. Okay. So see on this one right here, how to save the orangutan, did some trees and some little orangutans towards the bottom. The fidelity or quality of the drawing is not really what I'm worried about. I forgot, I took that one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this. Look at that amazing tree. Gorgeous. Gonna duplicate a couple of those. Gonna shrink them down. The idea is this is like your rough draft, so you're not really worried as much about the total quality of it. It's more about the proportion of where your text is, your title. That's going to represent my little orangutan for now. I'm going to delete that one out. I'm realizing those may need to be bigger. So what I'm doing is just going through and recreating the sketch ideas that I had. So you'll notice that I'm just kind of reusing some of the text or reusing some of the titles, but I can always go back and decide, ooh, maybe I'll use this one just to experiment and see what that one looks like. And put that one for this piece. Maybe that goes up here. And I was going to use a tree for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this tree that I already drew. Maybe do something like that, and then work on finding my steps and decide, oh yeah, I really wanted to use those. But you'll have the ones that are actually numbered. I can't emphasize enough. It's got to be the real text. It's got to be the right numbers if you're using numbers. And as far as the drawing, you can see that does not look like an orangutan. But as far as size, it's really helping me to see, all right, that there's some issues up here at the top. So maybe my original idea of this particular title may not necessarily be the best, but I can move them around and kind of see what I can do with it. I would recommend as you move the stuff over, go ahead and group it. It'll make it much, much easier for you to resize. All right, look forward to seeing not only the drawings, but then the actual layout with just kind of squiggly stuff or shapes if you want. If you're doing something where it's just a bowl, all right, well, just give me a big circle. This is for placement. This isn't for high quality illustration yet.